So the other day I'm browsing through Twitter when I noticed the Arizona Coyotes were trending for hockey. So for those of you who don't know, the Coyotes haven't been breaking news lately because they're kind of in a rebuild. But there's a situation going on in Arizona that's a little bit more than the Coyotes might have thought. So currently they're playing in a very small stadium called Mullet Arena that holds about sub 6,000 people. And for the Coyotes and an NHL franchise, this is astronomically low. So the other day they attempted to rebuild an arena in Tempe Stadium, but early voting suggests that they were being denied this new stadium because their numbers and viewership weren't high enough. So let's talk about what this means for the Arizona Coyotes and their future in Arizona. So a lot of people have been talking about this being the final straw for the Coyotes and that they're now going to be relocated outside of Arizona. So where are the most likely destinations for this franchise if they end up leaving this state? So a lot of people have been talking about a new Canadian team, one that was previously in the NHL called the Quebec Nordiques. Now, if you don't follow Canadian hockey, Quebec City is one of the most loyal hockey places you can find. They've been itching for a franchise, and they kind of deserve one. The viewership in Quebec is closer to 18,000, while the Coyotes stadium show-ups was about 4,000, which the discrepancy between those two is crazy. And I think it's important to continue growing the game in Canada the same you're doing in the US. A lot of other people are mentioning maybe a team in Houston, especially because there's a team that kind of pops around called the Houston Aeros, which a lot of people seem to like the design of this team. And with Houston being a huge city, people think it's worth bringing a hockey team down there to kind of grow the game more in the southern part of the United States. Another suggested location is the Kansas City, just like the Chiefs, but bringing it to the NHL. Now, for those of you who don't know, Kansas City used to have an NHL team as well, and bringing this back could be ideal for the NHL to grow the game in other locations. Now, this seems to be the main markets that I've noticed, with a couple other ones being the Hartford Whalers maybe coming back and things like that. But I actually think this is a tough move if you live in Arizona, because I think it's a great market for a hockey team, and I love the Coyotes, man. I think that the idea of the Coyotes staying in Arizona is kind of the best situation, but they just need to figure out the stadium part. And they also need to build a team that's worth watching. So if you watch the Coyotes at all, you'll notice they're not the most dreadful franchise, and they make the playoffs every now and then, but they've kind of been at the bottom of the league since I was a kid. I always felt like the Coyotes were never a tough competition to face. They never really had that star player. The only guy I can think of that really played hard for them for a while was maybe Phil Kessel and Mike Smith. And outside of that, there's not too many players there. And they traded away one of their young stars in Jacob Chitrin, and now they're kind of just looking to rebuild again, which, if you're a Coyotes fan, that's not exactly bringing you to the stadium to watch. I mean, you're not going to go watch a stadium filled with 5,000 people for your franchise to continue losing. I mean, and now they're talking about trading their young goaltender and all this other stuff. So what do the Coyotes need to do to stay in Arizona? And if you currently live in Arizona and you want this franchise to remain there, go watch a hockey game. I'm sure the tickets are extremely low in price. It's a fun time, and the Arizona Coyotes know how to bring it when they are on the ice. But it's a little bit disappointing to see this in the news, because I actually like the idea of hockey being moved around, but staying in Arizona seems pretty ideal for the state and for hockey. So let me know your opinions about this in the comments below. Drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. I'll see you guys in the next one.